The boys are back with the International Sports Report on TSN 1050 Toronto.
In front of the post, and this is a good attacking position. Will they go left or right? Gorey goes left to Burton. Burton onto Venditti. Venditti through the challenge of Hogg, and he's going to get over for the score, the big man. Well, that is a superb score from Venditti, earning his 4th cap for Italy here this afternoon.
Yes, indeed. Italy coming to Canada, actually. They're going to be playing a rugby test match against the Canadian men's national side in June at BMO Field. It'll be the second game at BMO Field, and hopefully all the Italian supporters, Pete, will get out from the GTA, and man, it's a slew for them here, isn't it?
There is. Fine restaurants, fine fashion, and fine rugby union. What more can you get, you Italian supporters?
Yeah, indeed. Joining us now is Hall of Famer of the IRB, 4 times to World Cup of Rugby, ex-captain of the Canadian men's team, a friend of this program, Gareth Rees. How are you?
Hey, Lindsay, Peter. Good to talk to you.
Good. And I should mention TSN colour commentator.
Yeah, add that to the list. We had a great experience this summer. That was pretty cool to be involved.
You must have a long list after your name, isn't it, when you think about it after all these years? But I suppose
it means you're getting old.
Yeah, I know. I feel it, mate. Let's talk about the summer series with Italy coming to BMO, and of course we've got the USA in Kingston and Georgia, and these are 3 tests. I suppose when you look back on your day, Gareth, because I remember meeting you in Wales when we did the broadcast between Wales and Canada, and I've never forgotten you tackling me on the concrete, but that's another story. I couldn't get up. Pete had to help me. But anyway, when you look from your day and what the game is involved for Rugby Canada and the men's team, it's like night and day, isn't it? And with the money especially.
There's no question the support and the fixtures. I mean, as you just said, we're playing Italy at BMO Field. So for them to be playing a home match with our great Canadian fans, but to do it in that venue, as we saw last year against the USA, it's a different environment for our guys. But, let's be honest, they put in a ton of work, and they deserve it. So looking forward to the summer series. You said U.S. in Kingston on the 9th, and then down to Toronto. It's Friday night at BMO, and then out to Vancouver for Georgia. So a good test, all good fixtures, all teams that are close to us in the rankings. The Italians probably are definitely the best of those teams, so a good opportunity to play and get tested.
So Gareth, looking at the Canadian team there, obviously it's getting stronger, but there's an element of youth popping up now.
Well, it always happens in a World Cup year. There's a bit of turnover. The players set their sights, and then after the 4-year cycle of preparing for a World Cup, will retire. So there's a few spots open. But got to be honest with you, some of our youth are our best players right now. We saw Connor Traynor in the World Cup. He's one of our young up-and-coming stars. He scored 2 tries against the All Blacks, Western University student, and so he's got a player we're looking for. And another Ontario connection in Taylor Parrish, who's been so impressive on the 7th circuit. He's raring to go, and a lot is expected from him. So 2 players that exemplify the youth movement in Canada.
Now, good performance at the World Cup, and as you mentioned, a lot of young players shining have caught the eye of selectors. Can you bounce off that and keep the momentum going? Because this Italy side, they've played in the Six Nations and they've had some good results in close games.
Well, as you know, Italy didn't get the wooden spoon this year. Your Scottish listeners will be delighted to know that they earned that with, actually, it was a tough call for Scotland. They played some good rugby and didn't get any results. But just to put it in perspective, Italy beat them in the last game of the tournament. Italy, a world-class side, been well-coached, a full professional league. So no excuses for our guys, but it will be our strongest test of the year, no question. People don't quite realize, but there is professional leagues and professional rugby other than soccer in Italy.
Yeah, and also playing in that Celtic league, and it's made a difference to seeing club sides playing in Europe.
Oh, no question, because it's week in and week out. We saw a big round of games last weekend. I mean, our players had a great experience last night. They played against the Ontario Blues, who are heading down to Argentina themselves. as part of the Maple Leafs fixture. So that was a good game. But as you say, nowhere near the week in and week out competition that Italy's getting. So that's a challenge for our coaches.
What do we have to do, Gareth? I mean, we can't be like Europe at this stage, but do you think we'll see a decent North American league? I know Rupert Murdoch looked at it a while back, but that was many years ago. But do you think we can sort of parallel on to what's happening in Europe? I mean, you played for Wasps, and I mean the Aviva Premiership is second to none, and of course this Celtic league is played, the Robo Professional 12. I mean, they've got so many things going for them in Europe, and yet we're sort of, a developing country. The IRB wants Canada to do well and the USA, but we're not quite there yet, are we, on the world body?
No, there's still a lot of work to be done. I mean, we are always going to have a handful of players that will be in Europe. You've got Jeb Sinclair, who's just signed with London Irish another year. Great success story from the World Cup, the New Brunswick product. Chauncey O'Toole also in Wales with the Ospreys. You got Jamie Cudmore in France, who's one of the biggest names in French rugby. So those will always be there. But the challenge is the next level down. And, I think what I would parallel to is maybe soccer. It's taken a long time to get soccer off in North America. There's two groups looking at rugby, taking it professional. But you'd have to be looking at a few years out before the standard of play is anything like we see in European club rugby.
So, Gareth, in the old days, I said the old days, just the last couple of seasons, it's been extremely difficult, whether it be soccer worldwide or certainly international rugby. It's getting players back from local clubs that they're playing for. Do you ever see that becoming a little better, a little bit more flexible, or getting the players that you need?
The IRB, which is our version of FIFA, has done a pretty good job. They've created two windows, one in June, one in November, where professional clubs are obliged to release international players to compete for a team like Canada, where we can't pay the big dollars that European professional clubs can. So that really helps. It's not ideal, but right now I know Kieran Crowley and his coaching staff are encouraging players to go to Europe, to go get professional contracts wherever possible, and then we can continue to develop our own players back here. We have now the Langford Training Center, which is a fully fledged center of excellence that rivals anything you'd see in Europe. So we can do that with a certain level of player. But as you guys have pointed out, the competition level is just different, and we still encourage guys to go and play pro in Europe.
We're talking to Gareth Rees, the Hall of Famer and also the National Program Manager. Now, Gareth, this is a new position for you with Rugby Canada. As you mentioned, Langford, the equivalent of School of Excellence for rugby. Tell us about what your job is now as the National Program Manager, because, man, I looked at what you're doing, and, man, that's a huge job. I don't think it's a one-man job, but that's my opinion.
Would you like to tell my boss that? Maybe
I hope he's listening, yeah.
No, it's, for me, firstly as an ex-player, just to see the support and the facility out here, something I never really would have dreamt up, to be perfectly honest, and a lot of my teammates feel the same way. So it's amazing all the hard work that's gone in from people right across the country to make that happen. In terms of my job, I never really would have thought about something like this, but I had an opportunity before this last World Cup, along with the great Al Sharon and Mark Wyatt, our former captain, to speak to the team. And I really sensed in Kieran Crowley's group there's a new confidence, and there's a real getting back to some of the old Canadian values. So I was really impressed by that. And when this job came up, which is effectively to manage all the men's side of things. So that's the under-20 national team, the Center of Excellence, our sevens team, which has just qualified for core status next year, winning Hong Kong tournament, and, of course, the men's 15 senior team. So that's my job, and to give them as much support, the coaches and the players, as much support as possible. And it's nice to try and look at some of the cultural side of things and bring back some of the great values that Canadian rugby teams have had over the years.
Yeah, big job, isn't it, organising the teams? Actually, I just think it'd be a nightmare, but it's good that you're there, and of course with your knowledge from playing in 4 Rugby World Cups, you know what the pressure's all about, don't you?
Yeah, and Kieran Crowley speaks about players being the custodian of the jersey. It is a national team. This isn't a pro outfit. So he's a former All Black, former world champion with the All Blacks. He knows what it should look like. And that idea that it's not the name on the back, it's the crest on the front, and in our case, the Maple Leafs. So there's a responsibility for these guys, and hopefully I'm able to bring some of that story, some of the last 25 years of rugby and what's gone on. So, it's exciting times, and it's a great group to work for. So I'm looking forward to great things.
Okay, well, Gareth, thanks for being on the program. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Gareth
Rees, National Program Manager, and, of course, Hall of Famer, inducted the last World Cup in New Zealand by the IRB. Don't forget the summer series coming up with Italy playing Canada, USA against Canada and Georgia out in BC. You can get all those ticket information and the kickoff times on isr1050.com.
And stay with us. Coming up next, Mark Cicchino. I tell you, he's live at the Masters. What a great job to have. And then topping the rest of the second hour off will be Paula Marsh on what's happening to boxing.
Keep up to date with Lindsay and Pete by liking us on Facebook. Search International Sports Report.